This episode is sponsored by the Christian Mill Spouse podcast, where we talk about how our Christian faith can be applied to our military spouse journey. We'll be talking about all the issues that go along with military life: loneliness, starting over, trusting God, raising kids, strengthening our marriages, finding a faith community, connecting with others, and so much more. Each short episode is 5 to 10 minutes long, perfect for you to have a spot of encouragement in your busy week. Find the Christian Millspouse podcast at jen-mcdonald.com under the podcast tab or wherever you listen to podcasts. Welcome to Millspouse Matters, the podcast dedicated to encouraging military spouses. I'm your host, Jen McDonald, and I was a military spouse for nearly 30 years until my husband's retirement. I'm now the mom of 4 young adults, including 1 active duty son. I also wrote the book, You Are Not Alone, Encouragement for the Heart of a Military Spouse. Through my experiences, I came to believe that we're only stronger together. Whatever life is throwing your way as a military spouse, let's talk about it. So hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode. This is your friend Jen, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. On this episode, I'm speaking with Jack Wray, who is the founder of Hero Care Packages, which are curated military care packages for deployed service members. I first came across the Hero Care Packages site when I was looking for something to send to my son who is deployed. And I ended up connecting with Jack, and we talked about having him come on the podcast. So he's sharing about Hero Care Packages, as well as a lot of tips for if you want to send your own, and just some benefits of getting a care package like his, response from other military members who receive one, and a lot of resources for how to package a care package, how to ship it if you decide to do it on your own. Stay tuned because there is going to be a giveaway for one of his care packages. So listen and find out how you can possibly win one of those. And that's very generous of him to donate that. I did want to remind you about the Pillar Deployment Retreat, which is happening November 4th through 6th. So that's coming up. I'm speaking at it, talking about helping your teens through a parent's deployment. And along with that, there's so many other great topics from military spouses and military life experts who are all there to help you power through deployment. It's all online. It's completely free. So make sure and grab your tickets at pillardeploymentretreat.com. And if you're driving or doing something else while you're listening, I will link to that in the show notes. So I also would love to hear from you if you have a topic suggestion for the podcast. I want to make sure that we're talking about things that are important to you. So if you have an idea, send me an email at jen@jenmcdonald.net. Go on my site, or you can use the contact form there, or send me a message on Instagram. The next few episodes coming up, I am talking to Veronice Castillo from the Military Spouse Advisory Network, all about mentoring and being a part of MSAN. And I'm also going to be talking to a guest about mental health. And so along with that, I would love to hear from you what topics you're looking for, how I can help support you in your military spouse life. So again, thanks for listening, and let's just jump into my talk with Jack. So, hey, everybody. Today, I am so excited to be talking to Jack Wray. He is a former naval officer, and he is the founder of Hero Care Packages, the first of its kind company to send curated military care packages to deployed service members. Jack is a veteran of 2 deployments, once circumnavigating South America and again as the navigator on a ship's maiden deployment to the South China Sea. He started Hero Care Packages after leaving the Navy, currently lives in New York, and he is getting married in just a few short weeks as we record this. And by the time this comes out, you'll be a brand new newlywed, I think. So that's awesome. And congratulations. Listeners, you can learn more about Hero Care Packages at herocarepackages.com and connect on social media as Hero Care Packages. We are going to be offering, or Jack is going to be offering, a coupon code and donating a box as a giveaway. So be listening to the end and we will tell you how you can enter for that. So Jack, it is so great to talk to you today, and thank you for joining me.
Great to be here. Thanks, Jen.
So would you mind telling us a little bit before we get into the story of Hero Care Packages? Tell us a little bit about your background. You obviously were in the Navy. So how long were you in? Where were you stationed and all that kind of good stuff?
Sure. Well, I was in for a little over 4 years, and I was stationed on a ship in San Diego. For those that aren't familiar with the Navy, you're kind of stationed on a ship, and then wherever the ship goes, you go on deployments. So it was really hard being stationed in San Diego with all the
Yeah.
beautiful weather and such. But we deployed twice. I was on a couple different ships, but we deployed once. We circumnavigated South America, like you mentioned, partnered with a lot of countries down there, and really got to kind of meet all these different South American countries, which was very cool and exciting. And then on my second ship, I was the navigator and took her out on the main deployment to the South China Sea. And, did kind of a lot of covert things, which I probably shouldn't talk about, with China and such.
Especially, yeah, right now.
Exactly. So each about 6 months though. So definitely have had experience with the deployments.
And that was your motivation for starting the Hero Care Packages company. So tell us about how that all started, because I think that's quite a story.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of born out of two things. I mean, first was my time in the Navy, where it's hard to overstate how important care packages are for morale. And, every mail call, people have been out at sea for weeks at a time, and you can go out in some beautiful port in another country, but people would stand in line for hours at the mailbox waiting for them to open up and deliver care packages. And it was this kind of shred of normalcy that you would kind of pine for on deployment. And it always just broke my heart when, the care packages would get delivered and there would be guys that would go up to the window and wouldn't have anything in that mail call. Mm-hmm. That always broke my heart. And so when I got out of the Navy and I still had all these friends in the Navy, I said, well, geez, I want to be sending them care packages because I knew how important they were. And I sent a couple of them and I figured, man, this is so hard. You have to go out and compile all of the things. And then you have to go down to the post office and stand in line and fill out customs forms. And then, the military, quote unquote, discount shipping was like $18 or $20 for those APO boxes. And I just thought, man, there's got to be a company that does this, to help me be able to do this. And there wasn't. And so that's why I started Hero Care Packages. There's lots of companies that let you donate to random service members, but there wasn't any company that lets you say, I want to send to my friend Joe, who's deployed right now. Let me type in his address and send him a military care package. There wasn't any company like that, which I just thought was crazy. And I said we should start that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, and if you don't label it just right, it can get sent back. We were talking before we started recording, and my son is currently deployed. My husband and I have been through multiple deployments, and my sister sent my son this big package, and she sent me a note the other day, and she's like, it came back to me and I don't know why. And it was basically, she hadn't filled out some little part of the customs form, and she was a military spouse. So it wasn't like she didn't know how to do that, but something technical. And so the whole thing, it's weeks later, and it's so frustrating because you think, I've gone to the trouble, and like, what if you baked cookies or something and you put it in there and it got sent back to her, So I'm sure you've seen that too.
It happens all the time. And, something at least we check for, on the addresses. I would say probably 75% of the addresses we get are entered wrong. It's a majority, not a minority. And so we always kind of go through before we send them and make sure that the addresses are formatted correctly, reach out if there's some issue with them, et cetera. Surprising that there's pitfalls like that.
Well, and your packages are so amazing. Like I mentioned before we started recording, we were talking, I had just sent my son a care package through Hero Care Packages, and it got there very quickly. And I know there's no guarantee, but it did. It got there, I think, within 2 weeks, which was amazing. And my son had sent me a note and just said, this is so cool. Where did you get all this? And, I was like, well, I can't really take credit for it. I got it from this company. So that had happened. And then Jack had reached out to me to partner in some way. And I thought, that is so cool. I have to have him come on the show to talk about this, because I actually had used it, seen firsthand what a great thing it is. And it's like one of the coolest things he's gotten. So I can personally speak to what a really cool product it is. So tell us a little bit about what kinds of boxes you offer, like how the process works, and whether it's a subscription or just a one-time thing. And give us all the details, Jack.
Sure. Well, I mean, that, for those that can see the video, I'm grinning ear to ear because that just makes my day to hear that story. There's multiple ways you can do it. I mean, and we try to kind of make it easy for you. And so some people like to be more involved and some people don't. And so, kind of on the least involved end of the spectrum is a subscription. where you basically say, hey, every month,
Mm-hmm.
send a care package for me to this address. You get an email a few days before it's due to ship. You can write a new note. Every box, we include a full card, an actual card with no kind of 160 character length limits like those gift receipts. And so we have people that write pages. Sometimes we have to go onto a
Oh, wow.
second card because people write so much. But that was one of the things where we said, listen, one of the most important things is that people get a personalized touch, and we try to do that as much as possible. You can upload photos that we'll send with the care package. So anyway, but we'll update you, a few days before it's due to ship, and then ship it out every month. And then you can either go into your portal and stop it, or send us an email and we'll stop it. There's no penalties or anything like that. We know that deployments are different lengths, but that's the easiest way because it allows people to kind of set it and forget it. And then kind of moving down the spectrum is, just a one-time curated care package. And this is our most popular thing that we do, is that basically you answer a couple questions. You say, my husband is in the Navy. He likes XYZ. You pick a size, you upload a photo, write a message, and then we'll fill the box with products kind of tailored to your service member. And so, when I was in the Navy, we used to get all the time boxes with baby wipes in them, for example, because that's great for Army guys out at sea or out in the desert, because they need to wipe off the sweat and grime. But on a military ship, you can't use them because they clog the old rickety plumbing.
Oh, see, and you wouldn't know that.
Exactly. And so we would throw them away because we would say, well, we can't use these. What are we have running water and plumbing on the ship, but the things that you would use it for, you can't use it. So little things like that, we're always aware of. And to the extent that, you'll say, hey, he really likes playing cards. We have a great game, a Monopoly deal card game that's so much fun, and everyone, it's one of our popular games. We'll put those in there and try to kind of curate it tailored to your hero. And I think people like that because it takes out the guesswork on their part, and just using kind of our expertise to compile something from our great product selection that they'll like. And if you're not kind of sure, going down a little bit more where you kind of know what you want to do, we have pre-made care packages, which are, a dozen or so different care packages, all different themes. We have the workout machine. We have a game night one, which has those Monopoly cards and a bunch of snacks and some other games in there. I'm kind of trying to curate an experience for them that you can kind of pick. You can see what products are in there. That gives you a little bit more control. And then kind of the most control is the build your own care package, where we give you some guardrails. We say, hey, you should have some of these, and you pick from lists and then send out that care package. And so different people like to do different things. And so we're trying to make sure that we tailor the experience to whatever works best for you.
Yeah. Lots of choices, lots of good choices. And they're for male or female, they're run the gamut. You can send basically any kind of interest. It's there. It's amazing. I don't know how you do it. Like, you must have this huge stockpile of of items or something.
Well, and we put a lot of thought into the products we pick. Our mantra is really quality over quantity, because you can't send someone 40 items in a care package because lots of people don't have space for it. Space is super limited almost everywhere that you are. And so we try to get, and this is advice if you're building your own care package, is pick really good, high quality things and, send one or two of them, and send, a box that has 10 items, not a box that has 50 items, because I think that your hero will appreciate that more.
Yeah. And is there a limitation on where somebody can ship one of your care packages, or you can go anywhere the military is at this point?
We can go anywhere the military is. One thing, and again, this is another pitfall that people run into, is we'll often get things addressed to, let's say your husband is deployed in Qatar. People will write down the address and then they'll say, put the country as Qatar. And if you were to do that outside of us, that would be a $50 shipping cost to ship there. But it's not right. If you're shipping to an APO or an FPO address, it's always to the United States, because the Congress has been nice enough to say any military shipments are domestic shipments. So, that's with that caveat, we wouldn't ship something to Qatar or Japan. But if someone's deployed there, they'll always have an APO address that we'll ship to. And that's one of the things that, like, we're always kind of checking for another kind of common mistake.
Well, and that kind of speaks to some of the benefit of using something like your service versus DIY. I know a lot of people love to put together care packages and go to all that trouble and do it themselves. And you also have resources for that. We'll talk about in a minute. But tell us maybe the benefit of sending a curated package like what you do versus just kind of doing it yourself. I know like the address and like getting it there is kind of a big thing. But what can you give us some other reasons?
Sure. I mean, and we do encourage people, we're not, a lot of people use us not to replace DIY care packages,
right,
but kind of to send another one when you're busy or something like
yes,
that.
Absolutely.
And so we're always encouraging, the more care packages people can send, the better, because I just do think that it's hard to overstate how important they are. But I think that people come to us for a few reasons. Number one is it's a lot easier. You can do it on your computer at night after the kids go to bed. You can say, hey, I haven't sent a care package in a while. Let me send a nice note and, something fun. And then the other reasons are, that we're a veteran run company, and all the care packages are picked by our, team of veterans who have been there and know that these are things that we would like. And so you can kind of rest assured that you're not getting something like the baby wipes example, or, chocolate to someone who's out in the desert and it's melted and all over everything else in the box. And so I think that's, the military expertise is the other way in which it comes in. And frankly, you save, like I said, it costs so much money to ship things via the military discount shipping at USPS. You can save a lot of money. We do free shipping. We offer insurance on every care package, and we focus on the personal touch, which is the most important thing. Uploading the photos and sending a letter. We try to approximate the DIY process and the personalization there as much as we can, because it really is important.
Yeah. And I can speak to that. I think, yes, it's definitely like a supplement. If you love to DIY, keep doing that, but do one of these once in a while because they're fun and it's unexpected and they have some resources maybe you wouldn't have thought about. And I love the fact that you have veterans helping to choose what can go in the care packages because they have that insider look. So that's so helpful. Well, if somebody is not currently going through a deployment or have their service member on temporary duty or away from them, is there a way they can donate a care package? And I know that you also have a partnership with Soldiers Angels, which I had their CEO on the show a couple of years ago. So that's a great organization as well. So tell us how that's all working for donations.
Yeah, Amy's great.
Yeah.
So basically, we do get lots of requests for people to donate care packages. And, we're not a nonprofit, but we do partner with one, not Soldiers Angels. And they're fantastic. If you guys don't know about Soldiers Angels, you should go check them out. They have resources not just for deployed military members, but for families as well. I'm sure listeners who listen to that podcast know. But, it's a common question we get. And so on the website, it's super easy to do. You just go on, you can, select a donation package. You can write a note to someone. And so I think that some people enjoy doing that because there is kind of that personalized touch. Lots of people include their right back address, and, then the individual can write a thank you note back. And so that's always kind of a nice thing to do. It's kind of more personalized rather than donating money to someone else who will compile and send a care package. It's kind of you sending one out. One thing I would caution people is we get emails a lot of people saying, hey, I have this person who's reaching out to me asking for care packages. Are they legitimate? And there are lots and lots of care package scams out there where people will, I guess, write to people. And sometimes they request $1,000 to be paid to them for care packages.
Oh, gosh.
But sometimes they just say, hey, send me a care package, and the address is like Somalia. And I'll say, well, we don't have individuals deployed in Somalia. If we do, they would be FPO addresses, you probably shouldn't trust this person, et cetera. But it's something to be aware of. And, there's lots of different, military care package donation companies out there that I think are all doing great work. But, and I think the value we add is, we let you have that kind of special touch, and Soldiers Angels is the one who will pick the person that it goes to. And they're a great organization. That's
great. I'm glad people are reaching out to you before they're sending things. That's good that you've become kind of a resource for people with questions. It sounds like.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we try to do. If you go to our website, herocarepackages.com/homefront, we just have lots of articles out there of how to do it yourself, how to avoid scams, things like that. And we do find that, people use those resources a lot. And so feel free to, check that out if you're building your own care package and you're not sure what to put in it. We kind of walk you through that. We walk you through shipping, all those different things. Because we want to make it easy for service members to get care packages.
Well, what has been the response from military members to receiving one of your care packages? Are you hearing from them, or is it more from the family sending them, or both? Or just share with us a few responses that you've had to this.
Yeah, it is interesting. We do get responses from both. And we always kind of forward them around to the team, because it just does kind of make our day when someone says, hey, I got this thing, I really loved it, thank you. With kind of no intention on their part. They just want to say thanks. That's kind of why we do this. But at the same time, the ones that really, for me, are important are the ones from the family members who say, we used your website. It was super helpful either to do a do-it-yourself care package or to send one off. Because being in the military, it's easy when you're on deployment to a certain extent. You can compartmentalize. You can say, I'm doing the mission. I'm working 20 hours a day, but it's on, this one job, and it's easy to kind of put everything else out of your brain.
Right.
But for the family that's behind, and that's why I think your podcast is so important. It's, for the military spouse that's back home, not only are you dealing with the loneliness of having your spouse gone, but you're dealing with, the finances, you're dealing with all of the kids, you're dealing with your own job, there's just all these things that pile up, and it's harder to compartmentalize. Someone is just basically taken away from your life for 6 months or a year. And so those are the people that, yes, I'm trying to serve the military members, but it's also just, if we can make it just a little bit easier for the, military spouses or the family members, I feel like that's the most important thing we can do. Because they're the ones who are really sacrificing ultimately, is by, loaning out their spouse or their loved one in service of their country.
And it's so true, because I don't know that I would say it's easier to be deployed, but I know that it's easier to have that focus. My husband and I have talked about this many times, because he could just, like you said, he has one thing to focus on. And I think, like you said, anything that can make the deployment easier for the family at home, whether it's spouses or parents or other loved ones, these kinds of things really, really do help. And I appreciate the fact that you have resources on your site for family members of, like you've mentioned a couple of different things about how to pack a care package and ship it if they decide to do it themselves. So maybe you could give us a few of your top tips for sending a care package on your own.
Sure. Well, how much time do you have? I mean, I could talk
maybe the
for a while.
top few tips.
I remember when I was in the Navy, we used to, believe it or not, me and a friend of mine brought baseball gloves on deployment for some reason, and figured this out, and used to go back on the flight deck on the fantail, the back end of the ship, and play catch. But it was a high risk activity, because if you didn't throw a perfect throw or the ship rocked the wrong way, the ball would go sailing into the ocean. And so I put the word out and said, hey, if anyone has any old baseballs, can you send them? And I still remember my grandfather, who never sent me another care package in my time in the Navy, but he sent me a giant box of old beat up baseballs. And it had a one-line note that said something to the effect of, hope this helps. And I still remember that, because it was such a sense of normalcy that I got by just playing catch out back. You kind of lets you relax. And so if I could give kind of one piece of advice, it would be send something personal and make sure that it's something that kind of gives them that sense of normalcy. If you have a local coffee shop that you and your spouse always go to on the weekend, go buy that coffee and send it. Or, if there's a favorite snack that they like, or something local that's funny, even just a local newspaper. And those are the things that I wish I could do at Hero Care Packages, that a do-it-yourself care package can do. Sending pictures is so important. The movies don't get a lot right about the military, but one thing they do get right is when you open up a card with someone with a picture in it, you just hang it up and you kind of look at it a lot, because it makes you happy to see it. And so, always send a picture with your care packages. And then I guess the last thing, and then like I said, I could talk about this for a long time, so I'll limit it, is, make sure to send smaller, more quality things. I think I mentioned this earlier. One of the things that would often happen on deployment is someone would send a box and it would be, 50 of something. And I guess with the thought process, well, it's easy to kind of pass them around. But I think it was always preferred to get smaller things that were high quality, single serve things, for example. Like, don't send a large tub of Gatorade, send little individual serving packets of Gatorade, because it's hard to keep a big tub, in a backpack or something. But it's easy to toss one or two of the little Gatorade packets in. So little things like that. And, if you notice, if you go on the website, you can take a look at the care packages. They all have, it's all individual, coffee servings where, it's pour over coffee, and everything's all right there. And then you dispose of it, and et cetera. All those things I think are really important to kind of help people to use the items in the care package.
That's so true. I've been told no more candy, Mom. I was like, because I know the kinds of candy he likes. So I was buying those big, I was a military spouse forever, so I should know better, but I was buying those like value size Skittles and stuff. He likes them, but he was like, I have so much candy. And I was cracking up because it's so funny. So the difference between me sending something to my husband versus my son, like he needs a ton of it. Like it's my kid. He needs all of it. It's these ridiculous giant boxes of candy showing up. I'm sure his friends are just like, oh my gosh.
Well, and I know so many military guys say, well, on deployment, I'm going to get really fit. I'm going to make sure I eat healthy, and so
yeah,
one of the best selling boxes we have is the healthy, box that has good, or the workout box, because people love to, get in shape on deployment and kind of use that as, because you're away from your family and such, and you go, okay, I'm going to spend this extra time that I have, any extra time I have, to work out and eat healthy, which works with varying degrees of success.
Right. I think it depends on where you are and what you're doing, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, those are great tips and such good information. And we are going to talk about the giveaway, which I think is so generous of you. You're donating one care package, and we will run that giveaway on Instagram the week this comes out. So you'll just need to connect with MilSpouse Matters listeners, and we will tell you what you need to do there. You'll just need to follow the Hero Care Packages account and leave a comment, and we'll get you entered, and we'll have one person win a care package to send. But you also are offering a coupon code if you want to tell us about that.
Sure. Just on, go on the website, use code MilSpouse Matters, real easy. And we'll give you 20% off of your first care package to send.
That's awesome.
So hopefully that makes it just a little bit easier to send a care package. And hopefully it's, well timed.
Well, thank you. That's really nice of you to do that. So I hope listeners will take advantage of that. I'm sure they will. So before we close, is there anything else you wanted to add, Jack, about what we've talked about, or anything else for military families?
Just that, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the military family really is the, propelling force behind service members who are serving abroad. And it's, every time that I talk to, my sailors' families, I would always just say, thank you. You guys are the things that allow us to keep going, and you're the one that's loaning your loved one to us for this important job. And so, I'm just so appreciative of your audience, because I know that it's hard. It's really hard. It's not for the faint of heart. And so I'm appreciative of you, Jen, and everyone in your audience of, the sacrifices that you make, which aren't recognized, frankly, as much. No one says thank you for your service to the military spouse, but I think they probably should.
Well, thank you for that. That means a lot. And I really appreciate what you're doing to support the military community. And I hope listeners will connect with you. So thank you. And thank you for coming on and joining me today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jen.
Yeah. So listeners, remember, you can connect with Hero Care Packages at herocarepackages.com and on social media, and make sure to enter that giveaway and use the coupon code. This will all be linked in the show notes. So take a look there, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the MilSpouse Matters podcast. Connect with me at jen-mcdonald.com, where you can find a free deployment devotional and other resources, or on social media as @MilSpouseMatters. You can find my book, You Are Not Alone, Encouragement for the Heart of a Military Spouse, on Amazon and other booksellers. Love the show? Please leave a 5-star review in whatever podcast player you're listening, and then share it with someone else who could use it too. Until next time, remember, you are brave, you are strong, and you've got this.